Welcome to IE News. I'm Leila Masimba. Here's top stories. Dead Los Angeles wildfires rage out of control. Biden declares state of emergency. Gunfire inside Chad's presidential palace leaves 19 people dead and several injured. Georgia's government declares day of mourning for Sebera fire victims. Wildfires have devastated California, killing at least 5 people and forcing over 100,000 people to evacuate. The fires, still largely uncontained, have caused massive destruction and widespread power outages.
California is grappling with multiple wildfires that have ravaged the state since Tuesday. Fires have burned thousands of acres, including the Palisades Fire, which has consumed over 15,000 acres, and the Eaton Fire, burning 10,600 acres, claiming at least 5 lives and destroying hundreds of homes.
There were houses to the back of us, to the side of us, and to the street below, and that's where the problem came. The wind whipped up, the flames were up about 30, 40 feet high, and you hear pop, 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 sound like a war zone. In fact, there were 2 big explosions that actually shook the ground. And so I knew it was time to get out. There's time to be, brave, and there's a time to use some common sense. And common sense told me it's time to go.
The fires are currently 0% contained, with evacuation orders affecting more than 100,000 people across the state.
I just want to announce very, very quickly that we have a new brush fire that has just broken out within the last 5 minutes in the Hollywood Hills near Runyon Canyon. I don't have a lot of information. I can tell you we're throwing all of our available resources at it as we speak. I am seeing active water drops as we speak. As we have more information, we'll disseminate this to all of you.
In addition to the loss of life and property, over 400,000 homes have been left without power, further complicating the crisis. Economic damage is projected to be immense, with estimates for the Palisades Fire alone reaching over $50 billion, largely due to homeowners' insurance claims.
We've lost 2 schools. 2 schools, elementary schools, providing educational services to over 700 students in the Palisades area, have been completely destroyed. We're talking about Marquez Elementary and Palisades Elementary. 30% of Palisades High Charter School was destroyed. We were on site and could not believe what we were witnessing.
Firefighting efforts are stretched thin as multiple fires burn uncontrollably, and water shortages have left some hydrants dry in affected areas.
It's a lot, but nature wins. And I just saw a lot of friends' homes go down. Luckily, my place saved. We lost a lot of homes, and it's unfortunate, but that's part of the world we live in today.
President Joe Biden declared a major disaster, promising full federal assistance to support firefighting and recovery efforts. As the situation worsens, additional firefighting resources from neighboring states are being deployed to California.
As global interest in Greenland grows, the island's leadership remains steadfast in its vision for an independent future, asserting that decisions about its sovereignty lie solely in the hands of Greenlanders. Locals, on the other hand, do not share unanimous vote on this issue.
Greenland's residents and leadership reaffirmed their stance on the island's sovereignty, following remarks by US President-elect Donald Trump suggesting he would not rule out military or economic measures to gain control of the Arctic territory. Trump's comments, made just days before his inauguration on January 20th, reignited global discussions about Greenland's strategic importance and its future. Residents of Greenland's capital, Nuuk, emphasized the island's resolve against external acquisition, while some of them stated island's strategic importance.
We have been together in a union for 300 years. We don't need to talk about that stuff. I prefer Denmark, of course.
I don't think we can answer that right now. I don't think so. Because we are not ready here in Greenland. We are not independent either. We are also not ready for which country we will cooperate with in the near future.
Greenland is so big that in my eyes, Denmark doesn't matter a lot to me. It's just a small country. We can't use them any longer because there are so many great powers in the world. So our partner should be a great power because Greenland is very wealthy, we have everything.
While Denmark has ruled Greenland for 600 years, the island's 57,000 inhabitants govern their own domestic affairs under an autonomous system. Prime Minister Muttereide has consistently advocated for eventual independence, firmly stating that Greenland is not for sale. The relationship between Greenland and Denmark has faced strain in recent years, with lingering allegations of colonial-era mistreatment of Greenlanders. Despite this, Denmark's government maintains the decision about Greenland's future rests solely with its people. Danish Foreign Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen echoed this sentiment, adding that while Greenland could pursue independence if its citizens desired, the notion of becoming a US state was improbable.
Responding to Trump saying the US needs Greenland for national security purposes, the Prime Minister of Denmark said that Greenland is not for sale. William Danslow brings more on that from Brussels.
At a press conference on Tuesday, Donald Trump claimed that Greenland was surrounded by Russian and Chinese ships. For that reason, citing national security concerns, he called on Denmark to give Greenland up. If not, Donald Trump warned that Denmark could face very high tariffs imposed by Washington. Now, Greenland is an autonomous Danish territory, and Donald Trump's remarks have been met with a strong response from Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen, who says that not only is Greenland not for sale, but she said that Greenland is for Greenlanders. We've also heard from French officials warning against the threat of seemingly attacks on what they described as EU sovereign borders, Denmark, of course, being a member of the European Union. When it comes to the EU's responses, well, Commission officials were quizzed on this by members of the press on Wednesday, and Commission spokesperson said that they don't comment on comments, but they said that sovereign states must be respected, or the sovereignty of states must be respected, adding, though, that as the EU braces for the Trump administration that comes into office on January 20th, they say that they are hoping for strong cooperation on areas of interest. A Commission spokesperson also urged the international community and the press, indeed, to dial down the temperature, saying that this at this stage is purely hypothetical, and comments from a president-elect, someone who's not yet in office. The EU does add, though, that they hope to find positive areas of outcome working with Washington going forward, but they say they are preparing for all potential outcomes when Donald Trump is in office, and that they will defend their interests as needed. But ultimately, the bottom line, as far as the EU is concerned, is to find areas of cooperation. William Denslow, Frey News, Brussels.
Gunfire erupted at Chad's presidential palace on Wednesday, leaving 19 dead and several others injured. The government responded swiftly, declaring the situation is under control. The attack involved 24 gunmen attempting to storm the presidential complex, with 18 attackers killed and one security officer losing their life. Government spokesperson Abdurrahman Kalumala confirmed the threat was neutralized and reassured the public that the country's stability has been maintained. South American migrants are rushing to the US-Mexico border, hoping to secure entry before Donald Trump's upcoming inauguration brings together immigration policies. Here is the latest on their journey and the challenges they face.
Hundreds of migrants are rushing to the U.S.-Mexico border, determined to enter under current regulations before President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration on January 20 brings stricter policies. On January 8th, nearly 250 migrants departed Tapachula, Chiapas, on buses provided by a Mexican government program transporting those approved through the U.S. Customs and Border Protection (CBP) app to northern border crossings. Meanwhile, in northern Mexico, many endure freezing temperatures in Ciudad Juarez, seeking shelter or huddling around campfires as they wait opportunities to cross. Well, I feel joyful, happy, sad also to leave the family behind, but excited to give a better life to the girls.
We are here in Juarez waiting for the moment to pass to the United States. We have never been in a place like this, a place this cold, but we are doing everything to be there and reach our destination with God's blessing.
Fearing Trump's promises of tougher border controls and mass deportations, migrants are facing against time to secure asylum before conditions worsen.
The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs reports that nearly 378 workers have been killed in the Gaza Strip since the escalation of the conflict in October 2023. Among the victims, 263 were staff members of the UN Relief and Works Agency for Palestine refugees in the Near East. The report also highlights that lack of the fuel to operate electricity generators continues to severely affect the already dismissed health system, placing the lives of patients at risk. After over 2 years of political deadlock, Lebanon's parliament will convene to elect a new president. This comes as the country faces both internal divisions and external pressure.
Lebanon's parliament is set to elect a president, marking the 13th attempt to fill the position after more than 2 years of political paralysis. The lengthy delay is largely due to Lebanon's sectarian power-sharing system, which divides key political and governmental positions among the country's religious sects. This system, meant to ensure representation, often leads to gridlock when factions are unable to agree on a candidate, as each sect and political group has its own preferred candidates. Lebanon's political outcomes are also heavily influenced by foreign powers. The US and Saudi Arabia's support is vital, especially as Lebanon relies on external backing to contain Israeli actions and ensure a ceasefire agreement is upheld. Saudi Arabia also plays a key role in securing Gulf funding for Lebanon's reconstruction. The main contender is Lebanese Army Commander Joseph Aoun, backed by the US and Saudi Arabia. His primary rival, Souleymane Frangieh, withdrew from the race, clearing the way for Aoun's likely election. Frangieh is a veteran politician with strong ties to Hezbollah and former Syrian President Bashar Assad. Other candidates include Jihad Azur, supported by factions opposed to Hezbollah, and Elias al-Baisari, who has close ties to Hezbollah. With Frangieh's withdrawal, analysts believe Aoun's election is now virtually guaranteed, and the 2-year deadlock will come to an end.
The Turkish armed forces have been put on combat alert due to a possible operation in Syria against Kurdistan Workers' Party militants, according to Turkiye newspapers citing military sources. Ankara is urging the new Syrian administration to act against the PKK, deemed a terrorist organization. Troops on the border are on combat alert for a potential operation, with military action among the scenarios being considered. Donald Trump returns to the White House on January 20. His journey back to the Oval Office has been anything but ordinary. From legal battles and political setbacks to assassination attempts, Trump's return was once deemed impossible by many. We examine how this unexpected victory had been perceived globally, including in Azerbaijan.
Somebody has to help this country, and if they don't, the country and the world are in big trouble. With 12 days left until President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration ceremony, with his victory having already been certified by the US Congress, many now seem to have forgotten that his return to the White House was once deemed unthinkable. For the man himself, a comeback in some form or shape has perhaps never been a matter of if, but that of must, even when he bid farewell to Washington on a cold January morning in early 2021.
Thank you and farewell. God bless you. God bless the United States of America.
In the years that followed, Trump faced tribulations and trials, being squarely blamed for the Republican losses, and many external observers did not deign to consider his journey from a diminished ex-president to a victor clinching last-ditch triumph as remotely possible. This was the case in July 2024 too, as Trump was doing his level best to turn his legal woes into fuel nurturing voters' anger, capitalizing on public discontent engulfing the country over inflation. He was also making his way through indictments, convictions and assassination attempts. Even when he stood surrounded by Secret Service agents, raising his fist in the air, shouting "Fight, fight, fight" after an assassination attempt made on the 13th of July, not his prospective victory, but future glorious failure that many thought would be possible. However, unpredictability, a quality generally associated with Trump's personality, was perceived in a different light by some others. For Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev, for instance, his prospects were not so impossible. When questioned about the subject at the Shusha Global Media Forum in July 2024, the Azerbaijani leader did not shy away from making his views clear.
I am absolutely sure that you know perfectly well what preference I would make. And I think I am not the only one in Azerbaijan. As far as we are concerned, of course we look at this situation through our own prism. The decision will be made by the American people. It is their president that will be elected. But it is also of great importance for the whole world, because the fate of many and many peoples and countries will largely depend on the decisions that will be made by the first person of the United States.
Back then, Aliyev also stated that his country enjoyed very fruitful cooperation based on mutual respect, adding that relations with the United States were largely stable under the Republican administration.
During the presidency of President Trump, we enjoyed very fruitful cooperation, relations based on mutual respect and appreciation of mutual support on different tracks. Our relations with the United States were pretty stable, despite ups and downs, which happened not on our initiative.
Therefore,
For Aliyev, Trump's campaign message, built upon an argument that there were no wars under his administration, was something deserving respect. Indeed, this evaluation of the Azerbaijani leader could most certainly be regarded as amounting to, if not an outright endorsement, but a subtle prediction and carefully constructed statement as to his preference. And when asked about President-elect Trump's return to the White House during a press conference on the 7th of January, Ilham Aliyev reiterated his earlier thoughts, reflecting on the prospects of Baku-Washington relations.
There is hope. Mr. Trump sends very clear, direct messages with his statements. Now, it might not be possible to analyze all of them, but I can say that the vast majority of them are shared by Azerbaijani society. Therefore, hopes are high. That's why I said that there is hope. There is great hope. This includes the possibility of advancing US-Azerbaijan strategic relations. I believe that if both sides are interested, we can elevate US-Azerbaijan relations to a strategic level.
Well, indeed, there seems to be a sense of hope in the air. The year 2025 will be different. Of that, there is no doubt. Yet, whether the perceived optimism surrounding Trump's re-election will materialize is another question.
The government of Georgia has declared January 9 a day of mourning to honor 5 children who tragically died in a fire in Siberia Gala district. Prime Minister Irakli Kobakidze ordered flags to be flown at half-mast nationwide. The government extended heartfelt condolences to the victims' families, expressing solidarity during this tragic time. The fire, which occurred on Sunday in Abkhazia, was reportedly caused by faulty electrical wiring, leading to a gas tank explosion. Archaeologists uncovered over 1,000 decorated stone blocks from the foundation of an 18th dynasty pharaonic Queen's Valley temple in Luxor.
Archaeologists uncovered parts of Queen Hatshepsut's Valley Temple in Luxor and the nearby tomb of Queen Teti Sheri, grandmother of Ahmose I. Over 1,000 decorated stone blocks near Hatshepsut's temple were found by Egyptian archaeologist Zahi Hawass, who has led excavations since 2022. Queen Hatshepsut, one of ancient Egypt's remarkable female rulers, died around 1458 BC. Reigning as pharaoh during the 18th dynasty, she oversaw thriving trade, monumental architecture, and a period of peace and prosperity. Centuries after her death, her legacy faced deliberate erasure, with her images and inscriptions systematically defaced, and her valley temple intentionally demolished. Zahi Hawass recalled the decorated blocks as one of the most stunning and well-preserved scenes he has ever seen.
But this is the first time that we discovered 1,500 decorated blocks, the most beautiful scenes I've ever seen in my life with the color. And this is the first time that we do have a final program of the decoration of a temple.
Hawass highlighted the discovery of Queen Teti Sheri's modest tomb, a rock-cut burial with red-painted chapel walls, reflecting Egypt's struggle after the Hyksos explosion. Teti Sheri, who died in Ahmose I's 9th year, played a vital role in stabilizing Egypt a century before Hatshepsut's role. Ongoing excavations aim to uncover the historical significance of her life and burial.
That's all for now, but don't go anywhere. Stay tuned to AE News for more exclusive updates. We'll be back soon.